Fighty Radio.
Hello, and welcome to this brand new edition of 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Ramirez. Alongside is my co-host Guillermo Cita. We're down, man. Albert Cita is back in Portland, Oregon. A little vacation time, extended vacation.
Is Battleground in Portland?
I think so. Due to live coverage, so we'll see with that. Today's show, got a lot to talk about. UFC on Fox. The results: Holly Holm lost again. Edson Barboza may be a new legit threat in the lightweight division.
I'm excited for Edson Barboza. I'm not gonna lie.
About spies and training camps, fighters union, and look ahead to UFC 201. So let's start again, Guillermo.
Yeah, I got the timer ready.
Start the timer. So round number one, UFC on Fox took place on Saturday, held in the United Center in Chicago, the house that Jordan built. Was main evented by a women's bantamweight bout between Holly Holm and Valentina Shevchenko. People were kind of excited to see Holly Holm, how she was going to bounce back after losing to Miesha Tate, getting choked out by Miesha Tate. This is a bout between, I think, the two most decorated strikers in the UFC, I think, other than Alice Overeem, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, I think, Gegard Mousasi or even, like...
yeah, just listening to the broadcast, I mean, like, you just heard all the championships and decorations of
kickboxing,
Muay Thai, boxing. So
it turns out Holly Holm drops the decision victory to Valentina. She's now 0-2 since knocking out Ronda Rousey. Valentina seems to be maybe next in line to face Amanda Nunes. But let's start with Holly Holm. I mean, 0-2, what's going on? The preacher's daughter was on top of the world not that long ago. Now she's looking for answers.
It's not that she looked bad. It was just a failed opportunity. I felt like the opportunity was there. A lot throughout the fight for her to win this fight, because it shouldn't even gone to decision, to be honest with me. You saw some of the great caliber of Holly Holm. The thing is, to me, it was a mistake on her part to capitalize on this opportunity, because had she won, I feel like she would have got the next title shot against Amanda Nunes. Yeah. Now Shevchenko out of nowhere, hey, I fought you. It was a close fight. Yeah, I lost, but now, hey, let's do it again.
Called out Amanda Nunes.
And so she called out Amanda Nunes. Now, think about it. I mean, like, Miesha Tate wouldn't give Holly Holm an opportunity. The opportunity was there.
Yeah.
And it just sucks because now it's back to the drawing board. Now, Holly Holm is maybe 2-3 fights away from ever getting a title shot, unless she's able to face Ronda Rousey in some platform. Let's say Ronda Rousey... She's going to get an immediate title shot, right? We all know that.
Dana White, yeah.
She takes the belt. Don't you think Ronda Rousey would call out Holly Holm? I want my rematch. I want my revenge.
I think Rousey's like, you know what?
I mean, look at what
You're down. No.
Look at what Michael Bisping did.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Dan Henderson knocked him out.
He was like 45 years old, too.
True. But, I mean, like, if Holly Holm is on the decline, let's say, for example... You think Ronda Rousey avenges it? I think so. I think it's
decline,
you see the Reebok commercial, and so like nobody's perfect. How am I supposed to avenge it if I'm a perfect human being? I'm not perfect.
Yeah,
I'm coming back for redemption, stuff like that. I mean, it sets up a great storyline.
I mean, speaking of that, Amanda Nunes went to Twitter and said that Valentina is still like a couple fights away. That her and Julianne Pena should fight, and the winner gets me. So she's already calling the shots already too.
Yeah.
She's like, I mean, you're the champion. You're the right. But I mean, come on.
Miesha Tate did that. I mean, Michael Bisping did it just recently.
Just like fight, guys. Remember, you gotta fight this guy first, and you gotta fight her first, and then get to me. Like,
when they become matchmakers.
Yeah.
I know last week I said that's a good thing. It is a good thing. But I mean, like, sometimes it feels like you're a running champion.
Yeah, you never hear like Mighty Mouse said that. Even John Jones never. I mean, I told you.
Speaking of Mighty Mouse, whatever happened to Mighty Mouse? The guy disappeared from the face of the planet.
The whole season of Tough is me surrounded around him. So I'm gonna go back to Ronda Rousey. So Holly Holm's 0-2 now.
Yeah.
After knocking out Ronda Rousey. So what's it say about Ronda Rousey? Which, I mean, she obviously beat Miesha Tate, but like with this kind of like this new batch of women's bantamweights, like Amanda Nunes, Shevchenko. I mean, I guess a re-energized Miesha Tate. Can Rousey claim dominance in this division again?
Well, the thing...
Juliana Pena.
It's a good thing for Ronda Rousey, and I'll tell you what. We got to a point where it's like, who's left? Yeah. Who's next? Demetrius Johnson, it's funny that Demetrius Johnson came into the conversation. He rolled through the division, and now it's like, who Demetrius Johnson fighting again? Does he really deserve a title shot?
Yeah.
Those are the questions we ask for the people facing Demetrius Johnson. Henry Cosito is like, is he really ready for Demetrius Johnson?
He was not.
So Ronda Rousey being away from the sport a little bit, we see the emergence of new potential threats to Ronda Rousey.
Grow, right?
So if she comes back, she had problems with Holly Holm. Holly Holm's lost to Shevchenko. Did I say it right? I'm butchering it left and
Valentina.
right. Valentina. Ronda Rousey versus Valentina would be interesting to me because you're facing such a deadly striker again.
Yeah.
So those potential matchups are fresh. It probably keeps her energized. Ronda Rousey is like, okay, so you have 3, 4, 5 win streak. You beat Miesha Tate. You beat Holly Holm. I think it's a good thing for that weight class in women.
It's interesting too. Like, so now that the shadow of Ronda Rousey's like moved away from the bantamweight division, you see like all these people are starting to grow and blossom. Like Sunshine's hitting these fighters. Now it's like one of the craziest divisions now. Like, what the champions changed 3 times already since Rousey lost, and like new contenders coming out of nowhere. So it's actually kind of getting exciting. From a long time, the Ronda Rousey division is now probably one of the most competitive divisions in the UFC.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's it for round number 1. Good filling out process like that there. So when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with the UFC on Fox and talk about Edson Barboza's vicious leg kicks. So do not go anywhere. Welcome back. Time for round number 2. So let's continue our conversation with the UFC on Fox from the United Center in Chicago. Co-main event was Edson Barboza versus Gilbert Melendez in the UFC lightweight division. Barboza won via decision, completely brutalized the leg of Melendez with those
poor Gilbert, man. That
vicious leg kicks. I know. I can't even imagine.
Imagine sitting down on that airplane with your leg beat up.
So Melendez's first fight back after a year-long suspension for, I think, PEDs. Barboza continues to win streak against Anthony Pettis. And now continues to get Melendez calling out RDA, Khabib, Tony Ferguson. I think he trains with Eddie Alvarez, so he doesn't want to fight him at all.
Well, I don't know. He said he would, if he ever has an opportunity, but he didn't say Eddie Alvarez. He would like a championship fight.
So just Barboza. I mean, this guy's been on the radar. I guess under the radar for a little bit. Now he's starting to emerge with 2 big wins over former champions.
You know what's crazy is that we talked about Eddie Alvarez going through this rough stretch of fighters. Edson Barboza is going through the same gauntlet that Eddie Alvarez went through. Showtime Anthony Pettis, Gilbert Melendez, now possibly Rafael Dos Anjos, possibly Khabib, possibly Tony Ferguson. Think about 3 fights in a row against 3 very tough guys, and then still on top of that, after those 3 fights, finally possibly getting a title fight. I mean, that gauntlet does not get any harder than that. I mean, the only person that faced something similar to that was Eddie Alvarez, and look where Eddie Alvarez is at. And the crazy thing is that they're teammates.
Yeah, well, let me go play devil's advocate here. I'm a big fan of Barboza, but I mean, okay, so he lost to Tony Ferguson, which is a submission.
Yeah.
That weirdo Barbo choke, whatever you want to call it. But then he defeats Anthony Pettis, who's no longer in the division anymore.
Okay.
And then he defeats Gilbert Melendez, who is coming off a year-long suspension, in his mid-30s. Not really the fighter he was in Strikeforce in the UFC. So are those kind of... I mean, those are big names, but like in if you kind of pull back and have a macro view of things, are those really big time wins? Or does he need to go through RDA, a rematch for Ferguson, and Khabib to prove, okay, this guy's legit? I mean, he's knocking on the door, right? He's not there. Yeah, but he's not in the room. But
he's not 3 fights away from a title shot. He's 1 fight away from a title shot, and the reason why is that maybe Anthony Pettis is not there, but it's not Edson Barboza's fault that he had a better game plan. Or that he made him look, or he made him go to a different weight class. Gilbert Melendez, okay, so last time he was caught on PEDs, but he was on PEDs when he faced Eddie Alvarez. So, I mean, like, it's when you talk about apples to apples, it pretty much is apples to apples.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that Edson Barboza probably grabbed some of the game plan from Eddie Alvarez or something like that. I mean, like, I've noticed that Edson Barboza has... out of nowhere, since he changed camps and, with Frankie Edgar and Eddie Alvarez, you see a brand new Edson Barboza. I mean, like, his takedown defense looked freaking phenomenal. I mean, like, you're looking at an evolved fighter out there. I think he has, like, the full package. The only thing I question is his chin. I mean, he did get rocked a couple times. But other than that, I mean, like... he doesn't need those 3 fights. He doesn't need Khabib. He doesn't need Tony Ferguson. And he doesn't need Rafael. He doesn't need all 3 of them. He needs 1 of them.
Yeah.
And then that would put him in a title shot.
I think they asked him too. He said his coaches say like, man, people haven't even seen the full Edson Barboza. Like, this is just like people think about your leg kicks and striking, but you're great on the ground. I think if RDA wants to fight, the fight's there.
Oh yeah.
And then more likely have Khabib and Tony Ferguson fight.
I said it. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I called out. Well, I said you have to do Tony Ferguson versus Khabib.
Yeah, you have to.
And then that sets up RDA versus Eddie Alvarez rematch. That leaves Edson Barboza out of the picture.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it, but it really does. Unless they're able to scramble and say, "Hey, Eddie Alvarez, you know what? Take a back seat for a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's clear this up." and then you can get an RDA versus Edson Barboza, and then still have the Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. I'm just saying the beef is there.
Yeah.
But the beef is also with Edson Barboza and Tony Ferguson, because Tony Ferguson has a win over him. But no matter what, if you think about it, it's basically a semifinal tournament for a shot.
You got
four guys for one spot,
which is kind of good. And then let's jump to the one more bout, the heavyweight division. Francis Ngannou out of France.
You better learn that name.
Yeah, I know.
That's all I gotta say. He looked phenomenal. I mean, like, he is big. I didn't catch his age when I was watching the fight, but I mean, like
29.
29. But talk about a star coming out of nowhere. I mean, like, this is 3 fights in a row in the UFC that he's won by knockout,
All 3
and he's already tied for the longest active streak for knockouts.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about TKO. We're talking about knockouts. He's tied with Stipe Miocic. I saw.
Yeah.
This guy's for real. Now I want to see. Honestly, after what he's done the last 3 fights, I want to see him fight a top 10. I'm not gonna lie.
Top 10, like
top 10.
3 fights in the UFC. You gotta bring him along slowly, right?
No. Give him a top 10 guy. It's just that's how crazy good he looks against these other competition. He does not deserve anything lower than 15.
We'll give him Stefan Struve. How about that?
Give him Stefan Struve. I think that's fair competition.
Yeah,
to
so
see.
interesting. Another contender in the heavyweight division is always a good thing.
Hey, I would love to see him against Junior Dos Santos straight off the back right now. Next fight.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
The power that he has in his hands is crazy.
Wow. All right, that's it for round number 2. That's a good discussion. We'll see what happens next for Francis there. So stick around for round number 3. We're going to talk about Jose Aldo and him and planting spies in people's training camps who do not go anywhere. All right, time for round number 3. Let's talk about some comments Jose Aldo said earlier this week about his in preparation for his fight against Frank Edgar at UFC 200. He, I guess, jokingly said around that he had spies in Frank Edgar's camp that helped him implement a game plan and defeat, Frankie Edgar at 200. And I guess he kind of had to backtrack and said that he was taking a jab at Conor McGregor because Conor McGregor said something about like Jose Aldo. So he's kind of either playing mind games, but then like he wasn't serious. So here's a quote when he said originally. So of course, this is a quote from Jose Aldo. Of course, there was a spy. Why wouldn't I kick? There's my own instinct. We always place a spy. We send someone to watch their training and tell us, so we know what they were training. And then this kind of backtracks a couple days later. So this is a joke. This isn't what I mean. He said, I fight clean. I fight fair. I fight tough. When I talked about having spies at Edgar's camp, it was reference to a comment McGregor made before the fight. It was just a jab. Everyone knows you can't change up your entire strategy in one fight week. So I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, do you think if there is kind of some like cohesion between fighters?
I mean, it depends. Okay, so first thing first, I think there should be a rule where it's like, okay, 3 months before the fight, if we find out any spying is going on, there will be consequences. Yeah. And look at it, every other sport. Is it legal to do it in other sports? Having a spy? No. Look at what happened to the New England Patriots, Spygate. Yeah. Once you have scouts and stuff like that, you can watch footage and all that. But the minute you have someone infiltrate someone else's training camp and literally seeing what they're doing, I mean, if you're talking about it, that Frankie Edgar versus Jose Aldo was announced maybe like 3 months before it even took place. Yeah. So for 3 months, he talks about 1 week. Yeah. But for 3 months, if you had information, okay, he's working on this because he saw this weakness from you. Allegedly. That's an advantage to Jose Aldo. We're not playing on fair playing fields. Then Frankie Edgar deserves to have a spy in Jose Aldo's camp. All I'm saying is that there should be a rule in place that should not be allowed. If it is caught, there will be consequences to the fighter and to the camp.
Yeah, well, I'd hate to be like, imagine that, like, I'm a fighter spying for another fighter in different camps. Like, going in shark infested waters, man.
Yeah.
They find out. Also, Edgar's camp came out and said, told MMAfighting.com, Mark Henry, the coach, said, I don't care. I could care less. I think we should have been able to adjust anyway. I believe I should have had adjusted no matter what he did. I should have been smart enough to adjust. Right after the fight was over, there was 20 things I thought about that should have been adjusted. I still haven't seen the fight. I won't watch it unless Frankie fights him again. I just messed up. I failed Frankie. That's my honest opinion. So even if there was a spy, he said that.
And I'm more happy, that was expected from Frankie Edgar to say something like that. He's very, very cool guy from what it sounds like, all his comments and all his fighting.
And his coaching.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you make no excuses. I mean, if you are such a talented player, fighter, I'm going back to football. If you're such a talented fighter, sometimes even people can observe you all they want, and you're still better than that. And I feel like that's what he's trying to say. Hey, I could have been better than if you would have spied. If I would have done this, and this, I would have still been successful. But ultimately, if you're talking about playing on fair playing grounds, because PEDs is, why do we get rid of PEDs? Because we want everybody on the same playing ground.
Yeah.
Same thing with spies and stuff like that. I mean, why is that illegal in other sports and not in MMA?
Well, now, Aldo's saying this is all to get McGregor's head, who's not, they're not scheduled to fight yet, but it's going to be pretty soon. And to end of it, put on Instagram, this whole post about addressing the spy thing. Said at the end of it, he's like, quote, as the spies in camps, relax, people. My spies are just in your heads. I'm ready for anyone. No spies required. So I guess he's already starting to attack McGregor mentally, I guess.
But I don't see it.
Reads,
all
those.
But I don't see how that gets into Conor McGregor's head.
Yeah.
Maybe if you remind me of what Conor McGregor did to Jose Aldo, infiltrate his camp or what.
Yeah.
But it's bad. If it is just a joke, it's a bad taste.
Yeah, it could ruin like a training camp, can it? Like if you're like in like a Brazilian walks in, who's this guy? And you're fighting a Brazilian.
So now my question is, Edson Barboza just joined freaking Frankie Edgar and Eddie Alvarez's camp. Is he the spy? I mean, like all of a sudden, let's say that whole camp. Hey, let's try to find this rat or whatever. I mean, it's not fair. It's a bad tasting joke.
Yeah. Even if it's trying to mental games, like dude, go a different route, man. You ruin a lot of camps that way.
Yeah, I mean, like go insult Conor McGregor differently. Don't start putting other camps that don't have nothing to do with it into these bad taste jokes.
So it's even when Jose Aldo tries to talk trash, he does it horribly, huh?
Oh yeah. He should honestly, and we've talked about this before. His talking is inside the cage.
Yeah.
He shuts him up by knocking him out. And he for 10 years he was undefeated. I mean, like that did before that. Before this whole Conor McGregor mess with he never said anything.
Yeah.
When did you ever hear Scarface say anything?
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see how this goes. I think she'll only get worse as the month lead up to the rematch with Conor McGregor. So we're gonna take a quick little break before we enter the championship rounds. We could talk about maybe the potential fighters union and Mark Hunt being the president of that.
Yeah.
And look forward to UFC 201. So stick around. Thanks for hanging in there. Time to enter the championship rounds. Let's get a real deep topic here, at least for 5 minutes, anyways. Brock Lesnar it was revealed last week that he failed his in-competition drug test along with out-of-competition drug test. So the test he took after UFC 200, either the administration before or after the event, came back positive, I think for the same substance. And when the news broke, his opponent Mark Hunt, who was already mad but he about failing the out-of-drug competition, he's even more furious that he failed his in-competition drug test. So he went to his website, markhunt.tv, and said that, hey, we need to get a Fighters Association here. Quote, the way I see it, the Brock Lesnar doping thing is just another reason why we need a Fighters Association. These guys are just making up the rules as they go. First, the Reebok thing, then Brock's 4-month testing exemption. Conor gets pulled off of a card called Tom McGregor, and for not going to press conferences that me and Brock didn't go to anyway. Work out that. There's probably a heap of others. They say they are cleaning up the sport, yet I've risked my health 2 times against cheating since the USCADA got started. I was told Brock was going to be tested when I took the fight. He comes in looking freaking juicy as heck, and I find out he's popped after the PPV had already been sold. These guys are lining their pockets with our blood, if you ask me. I mean, they deserve to get paid, no doubt. They took the UFC from nothing into what it is today. But come on, most of these guys fighting get paid nothing and have no benefits. If you ask me, the whole point of the 4-month testing period should be to make sure someone doesn't pop back in, juice to the grills, and beat the crap out of guys who are clean and have been clean and tested the whole time. To the fighters listening, I want them to get in touch with me via Facebook page, and we can get this going. I won't name anyone until we sort it all out. Get in touch and let's make it happen. End quote. So,
wow, that's a long quote.
Oh yeah, I read the whole passage. Sorry, it was good. So, Mark, he obviously has some good points here. But
yeah, definitely. If you look at it, every other sport, and it's funny, I did this in the earlier round. I mean, every group inside the combat sports has their own personal agenda. Whether they want to say it or not, do they really think about the fighters? Yes, they do a little bit, but because they have this personal agenda. I mean, like if you're talking about UFC, they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the Nevada State Commission or any other commission that they have, I mean, there's a personal agenda. I feel with that, but it's not really the forefront. Is not what the fighters want. Okay, it's to kind of govern, but it's not what the fighters want. Now, with the Fighters Association or union, that if they were to create that, it would be specifically for the fighters. Hey, we're the ones going out there in the cage. We see what we want and stuff like that. We demand these things.
We have to agree to this type of testing, right?
Yeah.
You probably should, but I mean.
But if you talk about in terms of like the Reebok deal, if there was a fighters association, I'm sure if all the fighters said, we're not okay with this, they would have been some pushback. So then Dana White would have probably not made that Reebok deal. We'd probably still be seeing them in in these their own
or maybe
sponsored
a compromise,
gear.
maybe little
so
less
then there's
patches.
So then there's a compromise. So then it would be like, hey, this is a dress code that you guys have to adhere by. Okay, we're okay with that dress code.
But let's keep our banners.
Exactly. So I think with the Fighters Association, you really look out for the fighters looking out for themselves, because ultimately the only people that can are themselves.
Yeah. But I mean, with that, all the fighters need to be on the same page. I mean, you go to the NBA, guys like LeBron and Chris Paul, the top of the top, they're the head of the union, right? Here, you think Conor McGregor cares about what Mark Hunt has to say because he's getting paid? You think Ronda Rousey cares what some of the other women in the division are saying? As long as she's getting paid. You think Cain Velasquez really cares what's going on?
Well,
as long as she's getting paid.
That's the culture you need to change.
Yeah.
Do you think LeBron should care about what the guy that's gonna make maybe the summer league roster or maybe practice squad? Do you really think he cares?
Probably not, but at least pretends he does because he's part of the union. When they go on strike,
but that's the culture that and it's gonna take some time. I'm not gonna lie. Any association, NFL, NBA, to create that culture, to create someone caring about league minimum, it takes some time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Conor McGregor is going to care, but do you really want to see Conor McGregor as a leader? Yes, you want to see him as kind of like
a supporter, though.
Support it. And I think they do care. I mean, they're at the gym. They see these upcoming guys that, you hear the Miesha Tate stories that she was living from her vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And let's say you're teammates with this individual, don't you want something good for them?
Yeah.
I think it's only a matter of time. And if they take into perspective the people in their camps that are suffering, I'm sure that they'll speak up. Hey, if they're gonna fight minimum of 80K per fight. I mean,
okay, but this round's over. But can this movement should it start from the bottom up or from the top down?
Top down.
It needs to start from the top down, right?
It needs to, because that's the only way you'll make some noise. That's the only way you'll make some change.
Yeah. So interesting. Let's see. I mean, Mark Hunt's the biggest name fighter we've seen so far. Advocate for a fighters association. So let's see if anything gets going. Maybe signs a petition or see how many people actually join that Facebook page. So.
Yeah, I think people are also scared because they might be losing their contracts.
Yeah, exactly. So there's always that fear. Yeah, I think it's a good.
There's a good opportunity for GSP to jump in.
There you go. That's it for round number 4. We got one more round coming up. Look ahead at the welterweight championship bout between Robbie Lawler and Tyron Woodley, and the rest of UFC 201. So hang in there. Welcome back. Time for the 5th and final round. Let's look ahead to UFC 201, scheduled to take place July 30th at the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Going to be headlined by a welterweight championship bout between Robbie Lawler and Tyron Woodley. Gammo, I ask you this. In an era where all the biggest UFC stars are making headlines for what they do outside of the octagon, like John Jones failing drug tests, Brock Lesnar failing drug tests, Conor McGregor not wanting to do press conferences, and Ronda Rousey going to MIA, is Robbie Lawler underappreciated?
Robbie Lawler, and you guys are going to hate me for saying this, Robbie Lawler might be one of the greatest champions to ever
I just said he was
be in the UFC. He is an MMA legend. He will be he's going to be in the UFC Hall of Fame, and yet I do feel he's underappreciated. He comes to war. You're going to expect a war from him. He's going to satisfy the fans. He's going to satisfy Dana White. He's going to satisfy the UFC.
And the new owners, too.
And the new owners. I mean,
first event under the new ownership.
Yeah, so yeah, I feel like Robbie Lawler is unappreciated. Second, I think that Robbie Lawler, I mean, because he goes to war, it's kind of unfair, but when he shows up, he's not calling out guys. It's like whoever's there in the cage with me and you have the door closed, I will fight you. And that's very, very, I appreciate that from Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Robbie Lawler either, but I do appreciate the battles he gets in. I mean, I was going for Roy McDonald, I was going for Carlos Condit, they both lost to him, so I can appreciate the fact that
and same thing, I don't think I've ever gone for Robbie Lawler ever.
But he comes out, like, he comes out when he's like, okay, All right, Robbie. You know that slow clap thing, slow applause for Robbie Lawler.
Yeah.
He just earns the respect of a lot of people just before he goes out. I mean, this bout with Tyron Woodley should be the exact same thing. I hopefully Tyron Woodley doesn't really.
I don't see Tyrone Woodley
backing
down. I see him standing up. He has his own great stand up. I mean, like, so I think it's going to be a great matchup. If you look at the rest of the cards, I'm afraid to say that I'm not buying the pay-per-view.
It's more of a fight night card. Co-main events.
I'll try to watch the Tyrone Woodley, Robbie Lawler some other way, unless Jason Hendricks orders it. But I mean, like, that's the only fight I'm interested in this UFC.
Maybe for some reason, Matt Brown versus Jake Ellenberger's on this card. But only the potential was a women's shot between Rose Namajunas and Carolina.
Just because it has a lot of potential in terms of implications in that weight class.
If people were a fan of the show a couple years ago, we were super hyped by Eric Perez. Now he's kind of sprinkled in there every now and then.
Yeah.
Injuries, inconsistency. He's on there facing Francisco Rivera. Then I think Ian McCall's first fight back in like 4 years.
Yeah, Ian McCall still fights?
Yeah. So this is all Robbie Lawler. So UFC's banking on another epic war for Robbie Lawler, or at least a highlight reel finish between the two, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what they are banking on. I think they're, given the track record of Robbie Lawler, given the track record of Tyrone Woodley knocking out people, standing
violence.
Up. I mean, he has a win over Carlos Condit, but it was, it sucks because
he kicked out his ACL.
But then you see the Josh Koscheck highlights from Tyrone Woodley. I mean, those are devastating.
He assaulted Josh Koscheck, so.
And then given the wars that Robbie Lawler has against Rory Mack, against the Carlos Condit, against what's it called, Big Rig, Johnny Hendricks. I mean, the UFC knows what they're gonna probably get from Robbie Lawler, and they're comfortable with that. And I think maybe that's a selling point. But for me, it is. I want to see the fight really, really bad, but you can't just expect the fans to just pay for one fight.
Yeah, especially, I mean, just pay-per-view. So, and go back to Ian McCall. He actually fought last year. He's fought one time a year since 2013.
What about Eric
twice
Perez?
In 2013. Eric Perez. Let's go back to Eric Perez. I think.
Yeah, because I haven't seen him in a while either.
Yeah, I think he's been like buried in the undercard. I think, if I remember correctly, his last time he fought was in the undercard. Last time he fought was November 2015, fight night. I think that was one in Mexico City. He actually won that one.
So a good fair question to everybody that's listening to us or watching us. I mean, like, tell us your comments. Are you guys gonna tune in to watch UFC 201?
You're gonna pay to watch it.
Yeah, 201. I mean, like, I think we had so many cards, so many names. I think we got to a point where we're kind of running out of those matchups. I mean, if you look at UFC 202, you had the main event.
I think, yeah.
But you're starting to see some of the undercards, and you're like,
honestly, I mean, you could have probably combined 201 with this past UFC on Fox card. I think,
and it would have been a card. Yeah, and it would have been a great card.
Mentioned a co-main event of Holly Holm versus Valentina, and then throw in some of the.
You throw in the Gilbert Melendez versus Edson Barboza,
and then with Rose Namajunas in there, and then
Rose.
It's a pretty good match.
It's a pretty good card. You're buying it.
Yeah, but then when you have one every week, it's gonna dilute it. But this is a conversation we have all the time when they do cards. But I think the main focus here is Robbie Lawler and Tyrone Woodley, the main event. Tyrone finally getting his title shot that he deserved. I think Wonderboy Thompson's number one contender, so he should get the winner of that one.
It's an interesting weight class because you got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Sorry, I'm about to choke, so I couldn't finish his last name. But you have him waiting in the wings, so you have a potential fight coming up next. So it's very exciting to see who the winner is to face Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah, so UFC 201, Saturday, July 30th at Phillips Arena, Atlanta, Georgia. Main event, Robbie Lawler versus Tyrone Woodley for the UFC Welterweight Championship, live on pay-per-view. I think the prelims will be either Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2, I think. I'm not too sure which one.
Hey, and then I have a question on Rory Mack. I mean, like, I thought he was a free agent. We haven't heard anything.
He is a free agent, but I think he's taking his time from what I heard. But if you listen to Bellator, their last broadcast, they're talking like I guess because Francis Carmona was on the card in the O2 Arena, straight up asking about Rory McDonald, and they're talking about like he's already there, so who knows. That's it for this week's show. I want to thank everybody for listening, tuning in. Until next week, make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FiveRoundMMA. It's FIVE Round MMA. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, and Podomatic. And please visit FiveRoundMMA.com. This podcast can also be checked out under our good friends at their website, Fightbook MMA, under the podcast page. That's FightbookMMA.com. A big, huge thank you to all of our sponsors. First with the Rock and Green eco-friendly cleaner products. The freshest gear ever at 5 Rounds Clothing. I'm not wearing it, but the freshest gear ever at 5 Rounds Clothing Line. Follow them on Twitter at 5 Rounds Wear. And of course, the Redemption Martial Arts, Rise Up Against Bullying, and the RMA Foundation. Guillermo.
You know, usually Albert talks about freaking WWE, so I'll do it for him. Yeah, I'll do it for him. If you guys are expecting something great at Battlegrounds, don't. He probably would have been excited for it.
No Bullet Club?
Yeah, I don't see it. So you heard it here first. Battlegrounds is not going to be great, so I don't want to hear you guys complaining that, I watched it, I expected this.
You know what? Next Sunday, we're going to do that. I'll watch him complain about it on the show next week.
I bet you he will complain about it. So don't, if you're going to buy it, don't buy it. Don't tune in. I mean, like, if you have the fight, if you have the network,
I'll watch it
might as well, tune in, but don't have your expectations too high. Oh, yeah, the cream of the crop.
You are now listening to Afro Mighty Radio.